Hello all, this is Glennie. I'm at Messenger Guardians Paranormal. This is February 3rd. This is the fourth or fifth time I've tried to make a video tonight, and I'm having always the jury rig the sound so that it goes through to the mic right until I can figure an internal way of making sound go into a file on something that I'm doing. I'm sure it exists, I just don't know anything about it, and hopefully someone will give me some tips. I don't know it all consciously, so it'd be nice to get a little bit of a hint. Anyway, I did a recording in my kitchen back on the 26th of January, and I have a very high rate of high frequency that I can hear, and there is a much longer master file, and then in the kitchen lasts, I think, about 18 seconds or so. The file that you're going to hear lasted about 8/10 of a second, and way off in the middle, in the middle of a 2-second area of the file, right in the middle, when I had water running in the sink, and someone was speaking through it, except at such a high rate of frequency that I had to slow the file down very, very slow and do a do a frequency smoothing, a lot of frequency smoothing to finally catch it, and it's a woman's voice. But when I did the frequency smoothing before, it was a little bit more interesting and very smooth and female-like voice. Now it sounds like it's coming from out of a can. That's how very delicate this kind of work is. You get it right, and then when you record for the people to listen to it, the recording doesn't come back right because something fails or the audio won't work right. And once we get the audio up and running, suddenly the file doesn't sound the same because it's very delicate. It's a delicate calibration in order to hear it, and then you got to record it at that point. You have to do the recording so that it's permanent, so that others can hear it in that moment. Otherwise, if you go back the next day and okay, I'll fix the recording session and try to go back and record it again, you got to go back through the recalibrations again a little bit, and a lot of delicate work, and a lot of the time you don't find anything. There's not always going to be something there, but some people have a sensitivity to high frequencies, and I'm not talking about just dog whistles and the regular occasional high frequencies from some strong electromagnetic fields. The occasional piece of technology that might do that. Now, whether or not it's something transmitting a thought to us, and that's riding on the high frequency, and we pick that up when we record it and roll it back and slow it down and frequency smooth it, I don't know, maybe. And maybe it is an intelligent consciousness that's saying something to us. The file that I worked on, however, is going to actually read what I believe it is. I originally wanted to work with a file, as I normally do, that doesn't do that. I want you all to usually come to your own conclusion, and I still do. But the better file was the one I had written under. Usually I have two files, one that I won't write anything under that I use for the audience, and one that I want to use for myself when I'm writing things and writing the things that I hear. And there are other files called null files where nothing's happening. It's dead, no frequency, no EVPs, no nothing. Like I said, you can't count everything as evidence because it's not all evidence. But from time to time, when you get the hint that you're hearing something, you're just not sure why you're doing all these adjustments, because you know something's there, and it's almost like someone wants you to find it. It's very strange, and it's hard to explain, and I don't want to over explain. So let's look at it real quick here. Okay. Alright. And we'll play this at the slowed frequency that I have. Okay. Now, if I go in and do a little bit of frequency smoothing, I might be able to knock some of that out through noise reduction, just a little bit, and some frequency smoothing. I might be able to knock some of that down. It's not always easy to do, but I do try, and maybe get that metallic-y sound out of it. So let's try that. Okay, we still hear that metallic sound in the background. But again, I'll turn it up just a little bit. Just a little bit again. And turn it up a little bit, and hopefully the microphone's picking it up. Okay, again, it's not coming across as smoothly as it did the first time I heard it, and it was very female, woman, very almost guardian-like. That's the best way I can explain it, without it sounding too religious or anything. Because then once you start applying a lot of religious stuff to things, it becomes very clouded after a while, especially when you really don't know the nature of what you're communicating with or who you're communicating with. Oops. So that's that sound. Now I'll put it up one more time, but hopefully I'm not going to put it too close to the speed. I'm not too close to the microphone. One more time. Okay, so again, that's as best as I can do it now. It sounded much better than that before, but this is as good as it really can get. Its original sound is this. That's what that eighth of a second sounds like. Like again, it's actually it's actually 1.2 seconds now. It looked to be just an 8/10 of a second the first time, but I guess it is 1.2 seconds now. And it comes off of a much longer file. Let me see if I can bring up that much longer file so you all can see it. I don't want this recording to go on forever. I just want to see if I can bring up the longer file. May not be able to easily. So let's close this and save. And well, for now, I was going to bring up that longer file, but I'm not really sure I can bring up that longer file. Let's try it. Let's see if we can bring up the file from the kitchen that I'd made, that I made for this. So Langdon Street, here, here, and here. See if we can get this sound in for you all. It's coming up. All right. Looks like we can get that longer sound. Let's play this. All right.
25th. Actually, maybe the 26th now. At night. 12:38 in the morning.
Okay, now this is the area where that came from, where I took that sound and brought that smaller file. I actually brought the file up close and then took an area right out the middle of here, where I kept hearing that high frequency, where I got what sounded like a woman saying, "No, I love you," and she was saying it. It was originally a very reverberating sound. So one more thing that I am going to do is see if I can bring that file up and go to the reverberating sound and see if I can make it reverberate one more time. And only because it came out closely, for whatever reason, as we've heard, so I'll call out the Steve Huff. I'll do it and say that he did a good job talking about this as well, and so did EVP Mediums, David Hensley's. What used to be Hensley Spirit Talk, which is now EVP Mediums. He also talked about these communications. They prefer reverberation because somehow it helps them communicate a lot easier. So, and I did have a reverberation running through this to make the communication come out a lot easier. So what I can do is go here and go back to reverb. My reverb's all preset. And usually I don't have them go too much overboard. I pull them back a little bit, and I do the reverb, and now I run it really slow, and I can still hear it talking, but this time again I don't get the woman's voice as much as I want. And one more time. Okay, so again, there's a there's a metallic sound right here that originally wasn't so bad before, but again, she starts to speak here and it runs through until she says these three words at the end. Now again, I wasn't originally going to show you where the words were, but I couldn't get the unnamed file to match up so well. I had apparently done more of the work on the named file, so I just say mysterious woman's voice. And so that's what I wanted to show you all from Messenger Guardians, and make it whatever decision you want in regards to it. That's absolutely okay. Um, I just wanted to show you that and show you what I do. And again, not everything you receive is going to be whatever you call it. We don't know the nature of these communications precisely, and I don't try to apply a whole lot of that to it. But there is something I think extra dimensional about it, whether you call it spirit, whether we call it spirits, or there seems to be something in regards to us, related to us, that's extra dimensional about it. So is it us as well? I think so. I think maybe it is. Is it another version of us? Is it our extended consciousness? Maybe it is. But I'm not trying to apply a whole lot of religious stuff to it, because without understanding the nature of what we're really dealing with, we apply that, and that's okay. It provides comfort for a lot of people, so I'm not dogging anybody that does that. It just, for me, it doesn't supply any extra comfort to do that. But I did write about it in my novel, so which I'm going to try to get out over the next. It's done. I just got to edit it one more time. But I'm going to try to see what this is all about and keep going with this work and keep protecting myself while I'm doing it, because it involves a lot of energy and bringing a lot of energy towards us of all sorts of natures, negative, positive. So try to keep myself healthy. That's harder to do when you do this kind of work. But, I'm still hopeful that this is that I'm moving towards the work that I'm supposed to be doing. So, all right. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Be well, everyone. From Messenger Guardians Paranormal and Montpelier, Vermont. Be well.